Hello, everyone. This is Commissioner Muhammad, Chair of the Safety and Wholeness Committee. I would like to call to order today's Wednesday, December 18th meeting of the Safety and Wholeness Committee. Today's meeting is in person, as we are all here, at Western High School and virtual as well. We would like to thank Principal Horn, the students and staff for graciously hosting today's committee meeting, and I will have more shortly to say about our Western Doves. For those attending virtually, please mute your phone. Anyone who does not mute their phone may be muted by the call moderator or removed from today's call. Additionally, if you are not a board member or the CEO and her staff, please turn off your video. At the conclusion of today's agenda, the meeting will transition into the cafeteria where the food and nutrition staff will provide food and the Western Doves will perform a step show. If you are in person, please join us at the conclusion of today's meeting in the cafeteria. I will now read a roll call of committee members to identify who is present. If you are present, please identify yourself first before speaking. Commissioner Coy.
Commissioner Coy, present.
Commissioner Esposito.
Commissioner Esposito, present.
Commissioner Rooks.
Commissioner Rooks, present.
Commissioner Slater-Harrington. And I am present. Is there a motion to open today's meeting?
So moved, Esposito.
Esposito, thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Rooks.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooks. All in favor, Commissioner Coy,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
and I am also in favor. Are there any opposed? Commissioner Rooks? Excuse me.
Yes.
Thank you, nice catch. Any opposed? With that, the motion passes, and I would like to say thank you, but before we get started, I want to take this time to give praise to our school that we are in today. So first, let me just say how electrified I am at being here at Western High Schools, one of the crown jewels of Baltimore's legacy in education. This is not just any school. Western High School is a movement. It is a testimony to excellence, resilience, and empowerment that has echoed throughout generations. Let me ask you all something. How many schools in our country can boast that they have been shaping young women's lives for over 175 years? Not many, if any. Since 1844, this institution has stood a pillar of education, turning dreams into realities for thousands of young ladies who dared to defy the odds. But this just isn't about our history. It's about the past, the present, and the future. Western has produced doctors, educators, engineers, politicians, and activists. The likes of Stephanie Rawlings Blake, one of our previous mayors, the likes of Marisha Brown, a retired art teacher who taught here at Western for over 17 years, and our own previous school board vice chair, Chantel Roberts. Women who didn't just graduate, but went on to shape Baltimore, and in some senses, shape the world. This school has been a training ground for excellence in Baltimore and beyond. It's a declaration in a world that too often tells young women to sit down. Western has always been the place where they have stood up to lead, stood up to inspire. And as we sit here today, Western is not just surviving, it is thriving. The torch is lit and burning brighter than ever. The students here today are not just tomorrow's leaders, they are leading right now. This is where futures are built, confidence is cultivated, and where the phrase, "you can't just simply exist," lives every day. So this evening, I ask you to join me in celebrating this institution and its rich history, but the unstoppable force it continues to be. And as Malcolm once said, education is our passport to the future. For tomorrow belongs to people who prepare for it today, and Western is preparing our young ladies for today and tomorrow. So for those that are present, let's give a hand to our Western Doves. Thank you. We are going to get started our meeting today with a compliance report. But I think what's really important as we listen and is the work around wholeness lives in everything that we do. So as we go through our compliance report, as we talk around food and nutrition, remember that our goal is to make sure that our kids are whole. Remember that our goal is make sure that our kids feel safe, because whole kids and safe kids learn. Come on up. Thank you.
Good evening, Board Commissioners and guests. My name is Sabri Barnes, and I am the Director of Student and School Operations Support from the Chief of Schools Office. And today, I will be providing information about KIB, the Sexual Offender Registry Compliance Report. The District Automated Visitor Entry System and Access 411 systems are used to track, scan, and flag banned visitors. Visitors are scanned against the Maryland Sex Offender Registry via their Maryland State ID card upon entering the school. Staff managing the systems are trained on proper use of the system, as well as how to verify a flag, which can often be false positives due to common names. So within this report, you will see the trends in regards to, in comparison from school years 22 to 23, 23, 24, and from the beginning of this school year to date. Confirmed sex offender industries remain minimal despite increases in flag visitors. We believe that although the 22 to 24 trends are showing challenges, we still have steady increase in the number of schools who are using the system with fidelity. There have been overhauls and training to accommodate the shifts in staffing, as well as in an attempt to meet the demands of schools, increasing family and community engagement. As a district, we want to ensure that we are continuing to research and work towards modernization in order to meet the needs of the school district. Currently, we feel the lack of modernization and technical issues affect implementation. We feel that a more modern visitor management system, which encompasses multiple uses for our district as a whole, is worth researching in order to ensure we are providing the best for our students and families, in addition to increased impact cross-departmentally.
Thank you. Open the floor for Commissioner questions and comments.
One question that I have, in looking at the visitor count in the table that you referenced, identifying, I guess, the projected gap, I heard in what you said something along the lines of not necessarily all schools have historically used this for all visitors. In other words, the visitor count through the scan system doesn't represent all visitors to the schools. I don't imagine there's another way to know how many visitors are coming in schools if they're not using this system. But is there a projection on what percent of fidelity is this used, right? Is this used 98% of the time or 50% of the time?
I would say overall, if you look big picture at all of our schools, it's about 50, 60 for all of the time, And then you have some schools that are using it some of the time, and then we still have quite a few outliers. But what we've done is that we're continuing to offer trainings. We just hosted a training last month, and we're going to try to do this bi-monthly to encourage schools to use the system, making sure that people have the necessary skills to do so. We've also been working directly with the vendor just to ensure that we have equipment that is operable, and just having an expectation around in the event that the equipment is not operable, it needs to be fixed fairly swiftly.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners? Hearing none, I'll state that this is work that's really important, that we really want to hear those schools that aren't currently effectively using the system, a timeline in when we expect for them to have the system up, be trained, as y'all are doing a great job making sure that training is happening. Now that that training is happening, what's the turnaround time? What's our expected turnaround time on them actually using the system to fidelity? And if we don't know now, that's totally fine, but it's something that we're definitely interested in, as there's a push on our end to make sure that all schools are effectively using the system. But we understand that the training is first, so you've already taken that up, and just seeing the impact of what that training does in the next couple of months. Thank you. And with nothing else, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Real easy today. Yes. Yeah, let's do it. All right, so we're actually gonna move on to our partner highlights. Thankfully, tonight we have two partners with us that have come to share the impact of their work in city schools. And we understand that the work around wholeness is one that's everyone's job. But a lot of that work is done by our partners, and our partners are in need of our awareness, first and foremost. And then there are some times when they're in need of our support, as they are supporting our children the same way we do in city schools. We want to hold them accountable, and we also want them to hold us accountable. So I want to invite No Boundaries to start off with our partners' highlights tonight. You come up, introduce yourself, as looks like we're getting everything up and going, so give us a minute.
Yeah, I can just talk through the videos that I was going to shoot.
Appreciate that.
Can you share the links just with us later as a follow-up? Or are you able to share the links later with us as a follow-up?
Yeah, I can share the PDF.
Yes, please share the links. Yes, they are, if you ask me, fairly impactful short videos of the work that we do here. My name is Bolun Zahir Shiamaru. I am the Director of Health and Food Justice for No Boundaries Coalition. And essentially, I'm here today to talk about some of our programming, specifically what we do with the youth. I do feel at home here. A lot of this is all lived experience for myself as a young man, growing up in Baltimore City and also County. I went to Calvert Hall originally as a high school, but I finished at Dunbar High School. So back then, we used to actually play football here at Poly instead of at Dunbar High School. So this actually feels like a little bit of a home, second home myself. And little Malaya back here, she was a part of LTL when I was a board member back when she first started. So this is all a family event. So I'm going to go ahead and get it started. So, well, as we get the PowerPoint up, essentially what you'll first see is our team at No Boundaries. And then you'll see my executive director, which is Miss Ashia Parker, who is a wonderful leader, not only for our organization, but within Central West Baltimore. And then you'll see a picture of me showing you my big smile. You can see my gap. That's when you know I'm smiling. I want you to smile back at it. I'm going to show you my gap. Yep, that's Mrs. Shear. Then you can go to me. For those in the back that can't see it. All right, then we'll continue. All right, so what are we about? Our mission is through training, education, and base building, we deconstruct physical and imagined barriers in Central West Baltimore, thereby allowing them to empower themselves to be able to build up community empowerment themselves. The vision is utilizing, and we envision at least, self-sufficient communities with ample and equitable shared resources that allow themselves to thrive. We can continue. All right, so in the Health and Food Justice Department, our team consists of Nav Sakir Hayel, who is the market manager over at Pennsylvania Avenue Market, and Meridian Sky is the workforce development coordinator for No Boundaries. I think we have the coolest name of Baltimore City, if you ask me. We have some fun names. We can continue. All right, so the programming consists of a various different level of engagement. We deal with trying to focus on healthy foods and making them affordable and accessible for our people in various different ways. So we have programming that consists of what we call Fresh Fridays, where at the market in Pennsylvania Avenue, other partners that are able to come down there and to not only be a part of the cooking that is done by community people within the Central West Baltimore area, but our workforce development students, they utilize that as an opportunity to take the things that they learned from the classroom and practice them within the community. So it gives us a two-way opportunity to build. Too Good to Go is an opportunity for us to be able to stop waste. They used to throw away 175 pounds of food per week before I got this job. Now we throw away anywhere between nothing to about 5 to 7 pounds, and that can go to about maybe $10 to $20 per week. So that was a major change. Our volunteer base is pretty big. We get anywhere from like community members. Our elders in the community love our spot because we keep it intergenerational as far as like the music. We play chess in there. Nev is like a master, so they like to come back and try to beat him. Doesn't happen much often, but the kids, it gives us an opportunity to teach them about strategy through chess. And we have high-level conversations in there with the kids that normally a teacher may not feel comfortable about having, so those opportunities allow us to really build with them. Central West Baltimore Buy-In Club is our area to be able to help our seniors who are at home, even people who don't have transportation, to be able to order from our inventory online, but also order in bulk for things like pickling, saving food throughout the winter, etc. We can continue. All right, really quickly, then I'll get straight into the children's programming. History of the Avenue. Why do we do this? It was built in 1871. It was a wooden market. It burnt down. So by the time it became Lafayette Market in the 90s, essentially it was rebranded to Avenue Market, and it hasn't been renovated, since 2012. So we got a big time coming up next year that they're going to renovate the whole market and make it more livable and sustainable for us in 2025. We can continue. The market was placed there because of these numbers. No Boundaries got started because of the two neighborhoods. Notice how different each neighborhood was living, and they started the coalition. Within that, they found that the number one thing that those neighborhoods wanted was clean food and more accessible food. So these numbers just show that 51% of the residents in Baltimore City essentially make less than the $25,000, and then these same people are affected by diet-related diseases. And our number is almost 2 times the number than the national actual average. So food plays a major role in these issues, and we try to utilize our market to not only just have these conversations with the parents, but to more so empower the kids to feel strong about their knowledge about these things and to be able to actually advocate for it in the home. We can continue. Already said we had the workforce development program. It is ages 18 to 24. That's where we provide jobs for the youth in the community, and they get a manager certificate that is good for 5 years. So not only are they learning about hospitality and how to run the business, because there's an entrepreneurial side of it, but they also can go to be a manager at any place where, whether it's a restaurant or a Walmart, anywhere that does retail. We can continue. Team Acorn. Team Acorn got started because naturally after school, we run into a lot of kids and they were always coming up to me, Mr. Boloon, can I get $1? Can I get some money to get something to eat? Blah, blah, blah. Normally what happens is I watch the young men specifically have to decide between me and the dudes on the corner to ask that money for. It's way easier to go in the corner and say 12 is coming, is which they do, the police is coming, than it is to come sweep, pick up Mr. Boloon boxes, carry all my watermelons, etc., right? So there was that battle, so I wanted to get them started. I also have my little cousin on my shoulder. Within the time I got this job, she was the little girl that got shot by a 9-year-old, which is why we started the ages of 9 to 15. They were the kids we were running into. So the goal with this program was to empower youth between that ages to make healthy food choices and promote them in their communities, while also increasing the accessibility to the fresh, healthy, affordable food that they were seeing online, because often kids say they want dragon fruit. They're seeing stuff on TikTok that their parents don't have access to. We get these things in our store. The key thing about my store is that in Giant, you get the inventory they give you. My store is based off of what you say you need. So essentially, they are able to get access. If it's not there that week, I'm going to find it. Let's continue. When I'm looking like on time.
Keep pushing, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you, y'all. All right. So I was asked, like, what is the importance of community learning for the youth outside of school? On multiple occasions, a lot of our kids go to Booker T. I've had multiple teachers that either have come down just to go to the store by mistake, or they've heard that these kids are, like, excited about the work that they're doing in the market. And they're like, these are kids that are trouble. I met these kids who are normally throwing rocks at cars. Like, I don't have kids that are like the goody two-shoe kids that you normally may see in other neighborhoods. These kids are like getting involved in things. So the teachers were like amazed that like these kids are like excited about something and they couldn't find anything else to get them excited about. And we believe that it's based off of these 8 things. We provide hands-on learning. Social interaction. I'm more like a mentor or uncle or a big brother to these kids, right? So they open up to me about things that normally that they probably don't open up to somebody else about. So I'm able to sit down with them in like a closed environment or use other kids as examples that they don't feel is hurt by me doing it because I'm building with them in a more social environment than like a teacher. Confidence building. I cause them to problem solve in the space because it's a business. So instead of just giving them the answers of why a refrigerator isn't working or why this fruit is bad or turning brown, I allow them to think it out themselves and work it out with each other. And if I have to intervene, I will. But it provides conversation points. Multisensory learning. I learned that a lot of these kids don't eat the fruits and vegetables and things because they don't know what it is. And I've even learned that if I gave them the fruit and vegetable, which one of the videos showed, they can't read the label. So it's hard to understand what something is if you've never seen it in your mind before. You can't read it. You have no association with it, right? So I start by that, making them read things so I can get an understanding of their reading level. And then I make them deal with the money. And then from those 2 different types of tests, I can gauge what kids need more time with interacting with the customers because they're not good socially, but they get math, they get reading. And then I can put the kids that are good with math on the register. The kids that aren't good with reading, I make them do more interaction so that they're not socially lost, but we spend more time reading labels, inventory. I make them read the boxes that come in. And it's more one-on-one interaction so that their confidence is not put down. They're only interacting with me, the manager, an adult in that space. The entrepreneurial skills is pretty simple, because I make sure that they understand that they're not working for me. They're meant to be in that spot to give me creative input. So yes, they get incentivized. Yes, we give them some money. Wawa Foundation gave us some money to be able to incentivize them and keep them to work. But more importantly, when they're there, I want them to be there working as if it's their business. I want them to walk around with that pride, that confidence, that ability and swagger. And you'll see, well, again, we don't have the video, but you can see the change of some of the kids in the videos that they were just hanging around at first. And then the young men and the young girls, like, once they got the hang of it, they go and walking the people through the store. They're walking you to the things that they cut. They take pride in selling it because they cut it. They learned about it. They understood the sweetness versus savory. We teach them all these things. So the more they get confident speaking it, the better they are with dealing with their community. Mind you, they're dealing with people that sometimes don't look like them. and also look like them. So before, it was weird for a young black kid to walk up to a white man in that store, but now they find pride in being like, this is my store. I found this bag. I built this up for you. Let me walk you to the car. Let's continue. And we'll just end on the pictures. The picture on the left is my example of kids being excited about healthy food. We're not doing nothing major. Like, we're making like salads. We're giving them corn on the cob and things of that nature, right? But you can't see the little boy when he bites into the actual piece of corn, and you can see him like percolating. Like, one is good, but it's real, it's natural, and he's excited. He can't hold himself back. Dalen, she's one of my kids who's actually, she's the parent in her household, and unfortunately, that is the reality of a lot of these kids. Next slide. Other moments of kids, young kids at Unity Hall, where our office is. When we build these type of relationships, these kids come looking for you. So now they come to the office, which is about 2 blocks away, and ask if I'm there, if they can work, so that they can, one, make a couple dollars, but naturally, it keeps brotherhood in their neighborhood, and it keeps them being able to get something to eat. So I love having the opportunity to provide that for them. Top right-hand corner, we got Dill walking his bags out with one of the customers. That brings our customers back because they love being able to interact with the kids that way, especially our elders. They really love that. Young boy in the middle, he loves cooking the food, and therefore, before he would not eat anything we sold. Now he eats it all because he's involved in it, right? Last slide, I believe. All right, I'll end here. The picture on the left, this is how we teach kids about the power of visualization and also about health, and get them excited about going to school the next day. We play games with them. On the left, what they're doing is we blindfold them, and we teach them about visualization in the mind, that you have to, the way you understand things is through pictures. So I'll put fruit in the box, and I make them feel around the box and tell me what they guess that the fruit is. Dragon fruit, things of that nature, they don't have a lot of experience with. So naturally, they don't know that. But as we continue to practice, they learn the fruit beyond the words that are on the tag. They learn the skin. They learn the smell. They get smarter with using all of their sensory to be able to make the picture in their mind. Then we translate that to success and business. And we have those same conversations based off of this game. But they love the game. But they understand the point of it. On the right, we do like relay races, where they're double bagging, they're shredding carrots, they're going through an order. The first person that finished wins the relay race. Yes, that's a business thing, but it's also giving them competition. They're releasing their energy, it's physical education. And then again, when they win, they take pride away from it. You'll see one of the little boys, he falls out because he's mad he lost. So that's pretty much what we do.
Appreciate it. I want to open the floor for commissioner comments and questions. I have a couple, but I'm going to let my fellow commissioners jump in prior.
Yeah, I just had a question. How many kids do y'all serve a year? Do you know?
We have about 15 consistent kids that come on Saturdays and any day that they can come at the end of the day.
One of the things I just love about the work that you're doing is it really contextualizes the learning, right? I often remember as a classroom teacher feeling, I don't know, it felt to me too often that school's the equivalent of eating bread by eating a cup of flour, having a drink of water, a teaspoon of salt, and of yeast, which are like all the ingredients of bread, but is the most disgusting way you could eat it, right? Mm-hmm. You got to mix it all. And I think, a lot of what you're describing and what I've seen also in project-based learning and other types of pedagogical approaches, but in this environment, what you are doing is deeply rooted in the context, in the like touching and feeling and application. And while there are some gamification or there's some things that make it kind of fun, it's also very grounded in the business of it and the work of it. And I just want to commend you for that. It's something that I certainly would love to continue to see ways that the school day can also feel more connected to the full experience, right? And so, would love to know any insights you have about ways that we as a school system can be more contextualized in our in what young people are experiencing around food, right? That's one topic that we're going to spend time today talking about. But how are we sort of approaching that work? And also, as a parent of two kids that have some sensory around food, I know that like what you're doing around just normalizing and having that matters a lot, because there's a lot of times, you know, at least in my household, depending on the texture of the food, is more of a determinant of whether they'll eat it or not, and that can be tough, you know, if you just don't have as much exposure or comfort being introduced to it that way.
Well, really quickly, one thing I think the school can do that we already do at No Boundaries is we take our group of kids up to the Ocean City when, like you all are doing, to do the tasting and to be able to give input. And that makes them feel empowered that they're actually having a say on what they're doing in the cafeteria. So naturally, those kids don't miss school, right? Because when I went to Dunbar, kids went to the cafeteria normally because it was their only meal or to socialize. So that's a big place to get it in at the school. And they're going to go back now to be like, hey, I had played a role in what we eat. And they take pride in those things. So those kids ain't missing that period. They're not missing school because they're socially making change. So allowing them to do more things like this, taste testing, and really service learning hours is big for the kids that I have.
Thank you. I just want to piggyback off of Commissioner Coy. I really do appreciate what you're doing with our youth right now. Because most of the time I just see youth on the corners, not in school, doing whatever, but I see that you're trying to improve that, and I see that you're trying to actually get involved with our youth and try to make better of themselves, so you're creating a future for them. That's one main thing that I'm actually excited and grateful that you're doing. I did get your email, and I want to try to come out to your store if my time allows it, but I'll make time for that. But absolutely, though, I thank you, because that plays a big part in our youth community today, and mostly our young Black boys, that they don't really know what they're actually doing. And when they go to you, like for one of your examples where they either choose someone on the corner or they come to you, they actually come to you. So I feel as though that you make them more comfortable around how they can just come to you with anything. Like if they can't do it at home, they can always come to you. So I actually really do appreciate that. Thank you.
So for the sake of time, I'll leave it in a comment. The work that you're doing, and this is important for us as a district, because the work that you're doing signifies that the work around community schools is working. That those roots that we hope to be able to connect the work that we're doing in schools, particularly in this case around food and nutrition, that we should be looking for organizations and working with organizations both in school that have relationships with our kids, because the work has to start within schools. That when we are doing the work in schools and we give those same organizations the opportunity to work with our kids outside of the school during after school time, we know that one, it's reducing the opportunity for them to get involved in something that isn't so productive. But learning cannot stop at the front door, back door, and side door of our schools. Learning has to continue. So the work that you're doing around teaching, and particularly using food and nutrition to be able to do that, is commendable. I understand wholeheartedly why No Boundaries was suggested for today's meeting, because it aligns very well with the work that we are doing and we hope to continue to do at a high level with regards to food and nutrition. So I want to thank you and would ask that, well, we have your information. We're going to make it available to our fellow commissioners and be able to highlight the work that you're doing, but particularly come out and play a visit and find out ways, and this is for us, find out ways that we can find these programs, no matter how big or how small, that are working directly in communities with our kids who need it the most. Find out how we can support in scaling their work, because this is the role of community schools. So thank you much.
Thank you all. Appreciate you.
I want to, our next partner for this evening, I want to bring up one more partner before we get to food and nutrition. I'm excited to bring out this partner because, at least for me, there aren't many things that young people are doing day to day that I want to sign up for and be a part of when it comes to programming. I think that we have excellent programming, but with regards to learning to live movement, I think that they have a treat here for you, and some of you guys are going to want to sign up and take advantage of the opportunities that they have and that they offer to our kids. So you can come on up, and I know we have someone joining us virtually as well. You can each introduce yourselves and go ahead and get started, and trust there'll be a lot of questions at the end of this.
Hi, everyone. My name is Aaliyah Phelps. I am a former student of Learning to Live movement, as well as the current executive assistant. And in the opening picture, that is me to the far right, actually on my first trip with LTL back in 2018. So, with that being said, here at LTL, we strive to give students, inner city, children, more of a chance to travel. So I'm going to go to the next slide. Oh, is she?
Miss Bianca, you can come on again and see if we can hear you. Appreciate everyone's flexibility, patience.
I know for the most part, I know I'm supposed to be doing the slides, and then she'll be answering. There she
Go
is.
right ahead. Go right ahead.
Okay. So yeah, can we go to the next one?
Next slide.
Maybe try to go down around. I'm actually not running this one.
Oh.
That's the last one.
Maybe they can't hear us.
Oh.
There we go.
There we go. Thank you. So LTL's mission is to help those inner city students, high school students, find their passions and live within their purpose through traveling the world. We want to help them along their journeys of figuring out who they are, which is the ever-evolving question that we are all still trying to figure out to this day. We can go to the next slide. So the passport. So we have a few different ways in which we go about this mission. So the Passport Drive is a separate program where we simply provide children with their passports. this is something that I also started with. I got my passport with Bianca, and I went on to continue traveling with her. So whether or not they plan to continue traveling with LTL or not, we still provide their passport, and of course that is a prerequisite of if they are traveling with us, that they have to have that. And second, we do organize travel retreats for our students. Let me find my place. Sorry, one more second. So we organize these retreats yearly, both in and outside of the country. And our main goal with this is to have their environment be their classroom without walls. On these trips, they learn about the history, culture, and science that is all around them, all while having the most amount of fun that they can have. We also have some different special programs that, just like I did when I was a student with them, we volunteered with other local organizations. For example, we did some fresh juicing with one organization to be a part of a fundraiser for our upcoming trip that we were going on. So we do different collaborations. For example, even if schools wanted to, that's okay, you can stay on that slide. Even if schools wanted to just kind of have a program or an incentive program where, if they keep up their attendance throughout the year, at the end of the year, we do 20 passports for the highest attendance. Just an example. So those are some of the things that we also do. So as we move on, I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience with LTL. So as I said, I met Bianca and started with LTL in 2018, and I was 16 in the 10th grade. And I forgot to mention in the beginning, I am a recent 2020 graduate of Baltimore City College. So very recent. Thank you. So let me see. I'm sorry. Kind of lost my notes. So yes, I started with Bianca in 2018. I got my passport with her. I went on my first trip with her in 2019, actually, a couple months after, to Belize, which was an amazing experience. We went with, 2 other students and Bianca. It was a life-changing experience. Leading up to that experience, like I said, we did some fundraising opportunities, just had the opportunity to meet people that I didn't know before, to have experiences that I never thought that I would have, like, for example, meeting this lovely guy here. I met him many years ago during this whole process. He was actually a big part of it there during the fundraisers, during the volunteering, one of also the many organizations that we paired with to in preparation for our trips. Excuse me, I am a little bit nervous, so I'm sorry if I'm everywhere. And ever since these trips, I've been on many trips. I have kind of chaperoned, because I'm not really a chaperone. Not really, but I've kind of chaperoned some trips with Bianca, like I said, in and outside of the country. We've gone to Virginia, we've gone to caverns, we've gone on hikes. I've seen waterfalls that I didn't even know were within 50 miles of where I live. So there have just been lots of experiences where I was able to kind of just get away from home and not deal with what was going on, because like I said, I was an inner city child. I was growing up and dealing with the many mind-boggling things that teenagers deal with as they go to school, as they navigate life, as they try to figure out, okay, what's next? What am I doing? So in that process, I was motivated, but there were times, of course, where I was like, I don't feel like doing the work. I don't want to go to school. I'm tired. I don't, But in this experience, I have had so many opportunities to kind of turn that around and be motivated and meet different people who were able to kind of step in and provide all around support for me and students like me. One of the things that I can say and we can go to the next slide as well as I continue to talk. one of the things that I experienced when traveling was, with leaving home and coming back, I kind of felt like, I'm back in Baltimore. I'm back where I always am. And living in the city, from personal experience, it can feel like a cycle that you're not sure of, like, am I going to get stuck in it? Because honestly, being here and living here and knowing people who live here and have all of their lives, you see people who get stuck in a cycle of riding through the same streets, going to the same grocery stores, living in the same house. It can feel like a never-ending cycle. But getting outside of those boundaries, going outside of Baltimore, outside of Maryland, even outside of the country, and coming back, you have a completely different outlook on even your schoolwork. Being able to go and sit in your classroom and be asked a question and think about it differently, because you just had all these experiences. You were on a beach, you were reading text, you were writing in your journal, you were taught to sit and think and be there for yourself and be around the people who are there and be genuine in it. So coming back and being able to use that experience and tell your friends, hey, I experienced this. Maybe you should look into it. Do you have your passport? It spreads that there's a clear motivation to come back and say, I want to do that again. Even if it's not, their end all be all of what they want to do in life. I want to be a traveler. It still shows that, travel is a big part of life. Seeing more, experiencing more, knowing that, hey, this can be me. I can work towards the things that I probably never thought that I could, because sometimes you don't see it. So those were major points. And like I said, as this slide shows, just having that all-around support, you meet so many people just within this organization. I've met Bianca, I've met a lot of her family, I've met so many different organizations and been a part of so many different things that I didn't even know was going on around the city. So being exposed to things and people that are there to help, are there to support, are there to provide, and just like our other presenter said, being able to have people that you can go to that, if you don't have people at home, or even if you do and you don't feel comfortable, if you don't feel comfortable going to your teachers, having people that will support you, that that if I come to you and I say, hey, this is my dream, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to work on, and they'll help you. Even if they're not sure how to do it within their means, they'll get it done. Since my years of being an actual student with LTL, I have had various different jobs. I've worked as a bar back at a wine bar, which was, I never thought I would do it. I was like, what? I am now an executive assistant and growing my skills as a social media marketer. And so much more. Sorry if I am
No, you're doing
skipping around.
You're doing
but
great.
Yes, we have Bianca, our founder, on the call, and that is also her contact information on the screen as well.
Bianca, there we go. We can hear you, sis. Feel free, go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll have some questions for you guys.
I can hear you very little. Can you get closer to the mic just a little bit?
Sure. Go ahead and introduce yourself to us, and we'll start with some questions from the commissioners for you.
Perfect. Hello, good people. I am Bianca Nelson, founder of Learning to Live. As Aaliyah mentioned, she was one of my very first students years ago. I founded Learning to Live in 2015. I'm originally from Baltimore, born and raised. I moved to California when I was 19, drove my car across country, lived in California for about 7 years, and while I was living in California, that's when my travel journey started. I went to Australia and I did 30 days in Australia by myself, a trip that almost all my peers and my family at home in Baltimore thought I was insane. But I did it, and it changed me in so many different ways. and living in California changed me in so many different ways. Coming from Baltimore, as Aaliyah mentioned, just being in that everyday cycle, seeing the same things, doing the same things, I was unmotivated. But traveling the world gave me a different type of motivation and a different mindset. And I knew that if it did it for me, it could do it for our students. So that was my way of coming back to my city and making my city a better place by allowing kids who can afford to travel to have the opportunity to travel and just gain different experiences that can help shape them and give them more motivation to just want to be better, because they know that life can be better, life can be different. It's all up to you. You can create the life that you want, but you do have to put in the work. So as she mentioned, we have two programs, our PASO program and a travel program. The PASO program, a lot of organizations that we currently work with use that as a reward system to help their students who might feel unmotivated to just, get them going and keep them on the right track, as well as our enrichment retreats. Sometimes we have students that are dealing with mental health issues and a long line of other issues that they may be dealing with at home or just in their communities, and they need that release. They need that time away to dig deeper under the surface with themselves and just, experience something new, have some fun, meet some new people, understand that they have a friend in another country just waiting to meet them. So this program, we have been working with Baltimore City Schools over the last 2 years, and we're just looking for the support to keep it going and just do more. Now our need is growing. We have a lot more students interested in the program. We have a lot more teachers and educators and community leaders that are interested in the program to help their students get motivated and learn something different outside of their comfort zone. So we're just looking for that support to keep this thing going.
I appreciate it. So I'm going to open the floor for our commissioners' questions and comments. Commissioner Coy?
Yeah, this resonates deeply with me, and just appreciate what you've shared, Lee, about your experience as one who has lived abroad at different times. I was born. My dad was in the military, so I grew up and lived in different places. That certainly gives such a different perspective in the world when you're like you said, coming back and realizing what is out there as well as what is right here. 2.5 years ago, the National School Board Association, this reminded me of one of the keynote speakers, was actually from the Institute of International Education. And one of my questions is, if you all have connected perhaps with the Institute of International Education, because when he spoke to the National School Board Association, which were school board members from around the country in DC, he spoke specifically about some supports in helping high school seniors getting their passport. And so I wonder if there's a natural connection here, and having, whether it's funding or other types of supports from the Institute, IIE, and would love to see those connections for this to be expanded. I also wonder if there's any natural collaboration with the governor's office of service and civic innovation, given the gap year and some of the things that are done there, thinking, how they are thinking about Marylanders experiencing, these types of programs as part of, the connection, for example, of a year of service, then going on to do other AmeriCorps type programs or AmeriCorps programs, including Peace Corps, which obviously needs and requires some additional, there's additional requirements for joining the Peace Corps. But point just being that I think this thread that you are tugging on, I would just say keep tugging and keep finding ways to spread what you've experienced.
Yes, thank you. We, just to answer your question, no, I have not made those connections, and I would love to make those connections because, if our missions align, I know that we can get a lot of work done and just talking about changing our cities, just getting a lot of work done with changing the mindsets of our youth to want to then better themselves and also better our cities. And you mentioned like AmeriCorps and stuff like that. When we talk about one of the requirements we're working on now is that with the organization is that this program has to be on their resume, whether they have a passport and go through our travel sessions, or they actually go on a travel retreat with us and have that as a requirement before they graduate. This is something we want to look into, because when kids have that type of exposure on their resumes, colleges, they love that. They absolutely love that, as well as jobs. They love when they can see that these kids experience a little of the world outside of their hometown. So I would love to make those connections. I have not made those connections with the organization that you mentioned and the governor's office. I have not made those connections yet, and would love to make those connections so we can grow.
I will hopefully make a connection. So we'll make sure that that connection is made.
Can you get a little closer to the microphone?
Sorry about that. I'm gonna just slide my whole chair up. Get right. Now I'm gonna make sure that we make that connection so that you can have that and connect you with Commissioner Coy, as I'm sure he would be happy to share. Commissioner Esposito.
Yeah, I just wanted to add 2 more possible connections. Bee Girl World is an organization that operates out of Philly that takes a cohort to travel, and they partnered with Lonely Planet, which I think is a travel company, and they were looking for a partner in this city. Okay. So, those are 2 other organizations that have been actively looking for folks here.
Noted. Thank you.
So what was the name of that organization?
Bee Girl World is the organization in Philly, and then Lonely.
If someone could put that in the chat, that would be awesome.
I got it, B.
I can't hear it.
Oh, okay.
I did hear that they connected with Lonely Planet. I'm
Yes.
familiar with Lonely Planet, but I didn't hear the organization. I think you said it's out of Philly.
Yeah, it's Bee Girl World. It's BE.world. Or, yeah, BE. I'll type it up. Send it to y'all, yeah.
Actually, I forgot. My assistant is
Yes, I wrote it down.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Take note of that, please.
There you go. Okay, Commissioner Slater Harrington.
Good evening. I'm so sorry I was late and missed a part of your presentation, but I enjoyed what I heard. Can you please remind me, I didn't hear it, how many young people you're currently serving, and what are the age groups of those young people? And then I have a follow-up question.
Yeah, so we primarily work with high school students, and I wanted to make a note about that. So ages 13 to 18, but we opened up applications to younger students when they are coming through our partner organization. So that's a conversation for another day, but just to keep that in mind, we do partner with other organizations that want to utilize our services, and we don't cut them off just because they're not in high school. But about 90% of our students are high school, 13 to 18. So that's the ages, and then you said how many do we serve annually, anywhere from 25 to now we're moving up to 70. So anywhere from 25 to 70 students per year, and that's a combination of our passport program and the actual enrichment retreat.
That's amazing. Okay. And at any point, have you maybe...
if you're talking, it's kind of low, so I can't hear you.
Hello? Okay, can you hear me now? I'm close. She can't hear me.
I can hear something, but it's kind of not good.
Okay, any further, and I'm going to be eating the mic. Quick question. Is there alignment with like the social studies curriculum for high school? And I'm just wondering about, for those students who are participating, since it is growing larger, is there ability for them to earn school credit or even service hours if you all are doing service as well. And my daughter's here. She's 15. She's available.
Yeah, so I heard something about can they get service hours? Yes, we have projects where they can get service hours. Just to give you an example, we just did a service project in Jamaica. So yes to that question. I heard something about, I think your daughter's 15. Is that what you said?
She's available.
Your daughter's
But
15 and
no,
yes.
I was also asking about alignment with social studies curriculum, just to see from a teaching and learning standpoint how we can, make sure our students are having the most robust educational experience possible and potentially earning credit for these learning journeys that they're going on with you.
Yes, let's talk about that. I wrote a note, and Aaliyah, make sure you're writing this note and get her contact information so we can connect, because I heard that it's, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like your main thing is you want to see how your students can get credit for something like this, correct?
Yes, but I would flag it for one of the staffers here. I don't think you want to talk to me about it. I just want to make sure it's happening.
If I could butt in, I was actually, from your question, I was actually going to say something that I thought about while the other presenter was presenting, was having some kind of program where maybe like an elective program, maybe if it wasn't an actual credit, I don't know, however it would work, but having something where they could, because in my experience with LTL, I was taught how to book a trip. I was taught how to plan it. I was taught how to go about it as if I wanted to do it on my own, which is really,
It's an important
really
life skill.
important, yes. And it makes you look at it differently, because again, you look at it like, oh, if I can do that. If I want to go here, I can do it, and I can set it up, and I can pay, and I can do it all, and
It's
then I can just
achievable.
go because I know how to do it. So having something where, okay, if they're sitting here and they're learning how to travel, how to go about it, how to travel through the airport, how to go through customs, how to do all of that, and then at the end, they go on the trip that they plan, or something like that, because we have schools have a lot of electives and chances to create electives for students based on what they're interested in. So that could be something that we all talk about.
Amazing.
Yeah, good point. And Aaliyah brought up a good point too. Is speaking of them learning how to actually plan and book a trip. That's actually a part of what we did with our youth work students last year, and something we're expanding on to have it all year round.
No.
I'm happy she touched on that.
Amazing. I appreciate it. Want to leave room for questions just because of time. If we can be quick on the next couple of questions. I think there's Commissioner Rooks, Commissioner Slater-Harrington.
I'm going to come late and make us late.
Okay.
Asking questions. I'm going to stop. Okay. Really quickly, just curious, how are you funded? Do you receive both public and private funds? And do you have I hear you're saying you're scaling from 25 to 70. If you have the ability to scale further with working with more schools, do you have the capacity for that?
Yes, we have the capacity for that. We're ready for that. As far as funding, we have our monthly donor system, our private donors, and organizations that we partner with, where we have our fee for service, as well as some of the schools, and a lot of our funding is through events as well. I think I answered your question.
You did. Thanks.
So in that, I just want to add that in the past 2 years, the scaling, as I'm familiar with this program, came along with our scaling the amount that we give to organizations. They were able to take on more schools. Therefore, they've been able to service more kids. But I do want to highlight that the places that they go to out of the country are amazing. Since I've been in contact with this organization through our schools, they've been to Peru. I know a bunch of kids that went with them to Jamaica. And this year, aren't you scheduled to go to Ghana?
Yep, this year we have Ghana, Belize, and Brazil for international.
So,
South Africa as well, but that's
Yeah, I was gonna say
that we're
Africa.
partnering with, but South Africa, Ghana, Belize, and Brazil.
so I highlight that to say that there are experiences that Baltimore City students are having that are at a very high level that many of us, including myself, did not have the opportunity and may still not have the opportunity to experience. So when we have these opportunities for our kids, they are amazing at assuring that our kids feel whole. What they did not speak about, and I'm just going to ask y'all to submit this in writing to us so we can find out how to continue to support you, is the impact on attendance that they're having.
Okay.
The level of impact around taking our students who are chronically absent, having them participate in a program that gives them the experience that many other kids don't have the opportunity to have, and then have a 90+ attendance rate after being referred to them for being chronically absent is amazing. And I'm going to ask that y'all send us something around just the impact of the work that you're doing on attendance, particularly those who are chronically absent, because this is something that's important for us to hear. Our priority is that kids come to school because kids who are in our buildings learn. But we have to assure that our kids come to school and our kids are safe. And you guys are supporting us through that. So I want to thank you for taking the time to be here. I want to even go further than that because Learn to Live decided that they were going to send not their executive director, but one of our recent graduates of our schools to present. And I want to thank you for being so brave and doing such a good job. It's
Thank you
hard to
all.
come up here and present.
It
You
was
did
hard.
excellent. So
Thank you all.
you did
It
an
was
excellent
an
job.
honor.
Thank you. We're going to move on to food and nutrition, as this is going to be a update and the work that they're doing. We're going to be able to shortly after this go and experience it in the cafeteria, as I want to remind everyone they have food here for us. The floor is yours.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Elizabeth Marquetta. I'm the Executive Director of Food and Nutrition Services, and I'm aware that I'm standing between you and food. So I will try to go quickly, but not too quickly, because a lot of this is important. And I'm very excited to have presented alongside the partners today, especially from No Boundaries Coalition, because we've been working with them the past 2 years and really appreciate the feedback we've gotten from the students they're engaged with. So this presentation is an annual overview of the work of the Food and Nutrition Services Department from the prior school year, and as well as things to look forward in the coming year. These are the areas that we will cover. And to start, I'm just going to talk a little bit about our why, centering around several board priorities that really talk about access and equitable access to resources for our students throughout the city. Beyond the board priorities, we have several guiding principles in the Food and Nutrition Department. They're centered around offering meals that align with the USDA school meals program and eliminating ingredients that have not been shown to be promoting of good health by scientific and peer-reviewed studies. Beyond that, we make efforts to accommodate students with special dietary needs and to provide nutrition and allergen information on our school meals on the district's website. our team enacts several strategies to promote school meal participation. Specifically, we want to increase consumption of fresh fruit and vegetables because we know that they are very healthy for us. Our team also seeks to prioritize procurement of local food and implements farms to school strategies to help students connect with the food system. And lastly, we are the largest food service chain in the city of Baltimore, and the only one that caters exclusively to our students. So our operations really do have a lot of impact on how much waste we're throwing away every day, and just, impact beyond trash, but looking at, for example, serving on compostable trays versus styrofoam trays. We are very proud to offer multiple meal programs to our students. We serve free breakfast and lunch at all of our schools in the district, and they are free to all students. At any school that has an eligible after-school program, we can offer after-school snack and supper. There is a fresh fruit and vegetable program in over 90 of our schools that provides fresh produce to elementary schools in settings outside of the cafeteria. So it could be in the classroom, it could be in the nurse's office, it could be in the main office, but they have to be available to all students. And then during the summer months, while some people might be on vacation, staff at over 110 of our sites are busy offering summer meals. We do breakfast and lunch during the summer too. And then, although we do not operate the food pantry program, I think it's just important to recognize that Maryland Food Bank has a very robust program in partnership with city schools, managed in our Office of Community Engagement and Communications, and they really provide another important wraparound service to families of food that can be taken home. So I want to talk a little bit about the meals that we're offering. And just to show you, this is the USDA's guidelines for the meals that we have to offer at lunchtime. We have to offer 5 different components: a fruit, a vegetable, a whole grain, a protein or meat alternate, and then milk. Students have to take 3 of those items, and one of the 3 items they take has to be your fruit or vegetable. I'm looking at our student commissioner because you should have this well-versed at this point if you're going through the lunch line. We do offer versus serve, which allows students to take only 3 of those 5 items because that helps us to reduce food waste. Students, adults, we're not going to necessarily eat everything on our plate, so we want to give students an opportunity to say no to the foods they don't want to eat. But also students are allowed to have unlimited fruits and vegetables because we know, again, those are very healthy. And USDA's reimbursement rate for our meals, which includes both the cost of food as well as labor, is around $4.50 per lunch. So as we know, groceries have increased in their prices, and that's not something that we are immune to. Beyond the federal requirements for school meals, we have a couple of district level standards that we have set. So I mentioned fresh fruit. But we also really make a priority to locally source our milk, bread, and produce. We've eliminated high fructose corn syrup in many of our items, including bread and milk. Overall, we're trying to reduce artificial colors. We have 100% of our grains are whole grain rich, and we have a pork-free menu. So any of our items that seem to be pork are probably turkey bacon, for example. And then lastly, we focus on offering our items on compostable trays, utensils, and straws to minimize the impact of our operations on the environment. Just want to mention that there are some new federal guidelines making their way down to school districts. So we will continue to be lowering the amount of sodium that is in school meals. This has been, a progressive reduction. And for the first time ever, there will be limits on added sugars that will be factored into the school meals that we're serving. One of the big highlights of last year was offering an entree level chicken Caesar salad at our high schools. I'm seeing some looks, and yes, it went over very well. So well, in fact, that we saw on Thursdays, the day that they were being served, 10,000 more lunches being eaten in our high schools. which really is just a testament to the amount of work our staff was doing. It was a little bit difficult to keep up with it, to be honest. So we had to train and retrain and figure out more efficient ways of getting it done, because, it was very successful beyond our biggest dreams, and we want to be able to meet the demand for that at the high school level. So this just shows, how our team goes about bringing it to the lunch line, and we're excited to continue offering it this school year. Fueled by the success of the chicken Caesar salad, we saw a lot of increases in our high school participation. So out of the largest lunch increases here, you can see that at Mervo High School, for example, lunch participation increased 40% from the 22-23 school year to the 23-24 school year. And that's a picture of Miss Roberson at Mervo High School, who really did what needed to be done to make sure that production got out there, even if we didn't necessarily have the staff to support the large increase in meals that had to be produced. So it's a real just testament to our staff learning how to, succeed and grow based on student demand. Any item that we serve that has more than one ingredient has to have a standardized recipe. This is to make sure that we're offering meals that are consistent with USDA guidelines. We have a strict calorie window that we have to meet in terms of weekly averages, as well as limits on sodium, fat, and it can sometimes be difficult to actually meet the calorie minimums with the tight restrictions on sodium and fats. So our menu planning team really does a great job. And when USDA comes out to review our schools, they will actually look at the production records of what was served to make sure that kids are meeting or are receiving meals within USDA requirements. This school year, we're excited to offer you some of these items down the hall in the cafeteria. We have some beef taco crisp ups, our Greek beef gyro, and a chicken queso dip that you will be able to try right after this presentation. And then this winter, in several of our high schools, we will be sampling a bunch of new menu items to see if we can get them on the menu in the coming year. So this is a listing of all of them, but I'm not going to read them through one by one. But all that to say is our menu planning team really does an excellent job of trying to see what products are available, but then really testing them out there in our school cafeterias to see. It might taste really nice when we try it at a food show, but what does it taste like when we're producing it in several kitchens? In the amount of time that we have to prepare and serve our lunch meals, because it is really a lot, especially when you're at a school like Poly Western, where you're serving over 1,500 lunches every single school day. Our accountability is extremely important to us. So we are reimbursed for every meal that we are served, assuming that meal meets certain criteria set by USDA. That's not just limited to the nutrition requirements. We've actually come a long way in the past 10 years in terms of offering free meals to our students. So this coming June will be the 10-year anniversary of offering free lunch without having to accept lunch applications. And that is just a huge achievement and something that we really hope to continue. It is so important that all students have access to free meals, not just set based on income guidelines. Even if you've just forgotten your lunch at home, it's just like textbooks or laptops. Students should have access to what they need to succeed in school every day. Also in 2018, we started offering free snack and supper, and we have one of the largest after-school meal programs in the state. Our team has a lot of reviews and inspections that they're subject to. So annually, because we hold licenses with the city's health department, we should have 2 food safety inspections where they come out, check the kitchens, make sure they're clean, make sure our staff are cooking food to the proper temperatures, no missing ceiling tiles, no pests around. So this is very, very serious, and we receive copies of those every time the local health department comes out. Also, we have USDA and state officials that will come out and look to make sure that our meals that are offered are within the nutritional requirements that our staff are using. For example, the right size scoop for the peanut butter so that we're getting the correct amount of peanut butter out there, but not too much so that there's too much saturated fat. And that is something that they do and hold us accountable for. Last year, we had a review of our after-school meals program. So they went to, I believe it was over 15 schools to see how it was running, make sure it was accountable and compliant. For example, students have to eat their after-school snacks on site. So if students took the meal and left it, that was a finding by the State Department. We also had our triennial assessment, which required every single school in the state of Maryland to complete an evaluation of the local wellness policy at the school level. And this year, actually starting in January, we will be under a state procurement review, and state reviewers will come out. They'll actually go into the food storerooms to make sure that every item there was purchased and produced in the US of A. If they find something that is not sourced in the US, they will want to see a letter from the vendor to see why they were not available. So for instance, things like bananas are not commonly grown in the US, although they are unlimited scale available. But they want to make sure that we are using our dollars to buy food that are grown and produced in the US. Last school year, we served over 12.4 million meals across our 165 sites. And it's just really a testament to the 550 food service staff that are out there every day producing food. So again, that includes breakfast, lunch, snack, and supper. And every day, people are out there serving a lot of food, and that's over 43,000 lunches every single school day. And over the course of the year, that really does add up. So it's really just incredible and humbling to be a part of a team that has such a broad and powerful reach in our city. We are focused on expanding our after-school meals program to make sure that every school that's eligible has a snack and supper program. So if you know that one is not available at your school, but you have a program that is open to all students and is not restricted in access, please contact our team and we will be happy to help people set one up. We served over 1.5 million after-school meals last year. We also have a student-designed food truck that is pictured here, and we served over 1,000 meals this summer from the food truck at John Rura and Samuel Coleridge Taylor. Our team also really works to make sure that families are aware of what's available. So we have been doing a back-to-school night taste testing over the past few years. We hit 86 schools this year and had over 15 different evenings, and the menu is listed there. This is a great opportunity for parents to see what's on the menu. Certainly, the school meals that we are being offered are not the same ones that we had 15 years ago. They are not the same ones that we had 25 years ago. And it's really important for families to be aware of the very high nutrition standards for the school meals program because they are significantly different than they were 25 years ago. Our team has to do a lot of training, and the state and USDA require training of specific topics and a certain number of hours each year. But I would like to highlight the team that went to the Maryland School Nutrition Association this year. We had two buses that went, one with staff and one with students from our partners at No Boundaries, and they have a state food show, so various manufacturers will be there, and students have an opportunity and staff had an opportunity to go and try the different products that are available that meet the new standards and give us feedback. So they actually had a little ranking, and our team took a look at the items that got good reviews, and then those will then be piloted out at schools for people to try as we consider offering it on our menu in the future. I also want to highlight, because I saw that the Ombudsman office is here, we had an excellent presentation from Dr. Lawrence on customer service training and creating a culture of care, and it was very, very well received by our staff. I'm just going to close up by talking a little bit about wellness, sustainability, and our Farms to Schools programs. So our board commissioners should be familiar with the fact that we revised our wellness policy in this past year. Most notably, and to the disappointment of some students, we made a decision as a district to restrict meal deliveries to schools. And this is actually something that we received commendation from the state of Maryland for best practices for doing this. We also have revised the anaphylaxis policy. And, you know, looking at safe zones in schools, we do have a number of students that have allergies, and so trying to figure out ways to allow students to have as much choice as they can and minimize, you know, the barriers to creating safe spaces for students. We have share tables, and these kind of went away during the pandemic, and our team is rolling them out again. So people that want more information can check out this QR code, look at the guidance, and see how they can set one up at their schools. These help, you know, after students take items, if they have things they're not going to eat, they can put it on a share table and someone else can take it. These are just some things that we can offer, and certainly we don't want people returning a half-eaten apple. Our fresh fruit and vegetable program is in 96 schools this year. We got $2.1 million from MSDE to offer these fresh vegetables. And again, this is only in elementary settings. The idea is this also includes education around fresh fruits and vegetables, and students become more familiar with ones they might not be familiar with. And then lastly, our Farms to Schools program, while it is based at Great Kids Farm, they offer a wide variety of activities that help engage students in food education. And again, learning about food, how it's grown, you know, creates more awareness, interest, and desire to eat healthy foods. Also looking at nature-based exploration. We know this has a lot of benefits for wholeness and academic enrichment. In the last year, we actually had 3 food corps members working at Great Kids Farm, and we had more than 9,000 students who were engaged at programs at the farm, and directly in schools has been one of the big areas where they've expanded. So we had over 3,300 students attend field trips at Great Kids Farm, but more importantly, our staff went out to schools for 180 different school-based experiences in the past year, bringing plants, bringing the animals. If you were lucky, you got a goat or a turkey visit, and doing cooking projects in many schools as well. So over 7,000 students were engaged in programs in their schools because of our staff coming in. And then in this school year, one of the new things is our team has been working with kindergarten academic leads to integrate microgreen kits and FaceTime the farmer sessions into one of their curricular units focused on plants and animals. This table just shows the expansion that has occurred in the past year, largely due to the addition of our Food Corps Fellows, and we actually got 2 more Food Corps Fellows this school year, so we do anticipate another large increase, but they were able to increase the number of students served by 55% from 2022 to the 2024 school year. So we're really just proud of that, and people that want more information can check out the annual report that's posted online. So that is the end. I'll take questions, and then the samples are available in the cafeteria.
Great to hear. Commissioners, the floor is open. Any questions or comments?
Are students still required to take dairy even if they're lactose intolerant?
No, great question. So milk is not one of the required components of the school meals, but it is the most common, I would say, misconception is that milk is one of the required things. So out of the 5 items that we offer, students have to take 3. One of those 3 has to be a fruit or vegetable. There is no requirement for students to take milk. However, if students would like access to lactate, we do have that available for students that want that. And water should be available wherever meals are served for students to have another drink option.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners? Hearing none, there is a one question around waste. If we can, for time's sake, receive this in writing, has there been a reduction of waste? Because it seems like with regards to the training that we're doing things better, we have more options, and we're creating processes that would reduce waste. So in that, do we have any insight in the amount of waste that we've been able to reduce creating and implementing these new processes and these trainings? So you don't have to respond now, but if we can receive some information around that, because that's really important. We're serving so much food that along with that, we have to be intentional on reducing the amount of waste. And you spoke towards it, but really having numbers to understand how much and where would be helpful. But thank you so much. As we are going to start to close out, we want to welcome our public comments. I knew we do have one public comment at least tonight. I want to bring Mr. Jamal Turner up for public comment.
You'll have 3 minutes.
So first, I want to thank each one of our school board commissioners here for your hard work and dedication to the city of Baltimore and to our students, of course, our future, the reason why we're all here today. My name is Jamal Turner. I am the director of the No Leader Project. You all also may know our executive director and co-founder as well, Wesley Hawkins. So the questions that I want to ask today actually relate to our ability to impact the kids and to be able to expand our programming within the current confines of the restrictions and limits that have been placed on us by Baltimore City Public Schools. Right now, there is a current cap of $100,000 for programs and organizations to operate within the school system. We have our anchor program right now at Reach Partnership, for example. Right now, we do everything from the culture and climate aspect, ensuring that we are addressing the violent situation, also the absenteeism situation within the school. We have an after-school program that we operate where we have, on average, 35 students that come voluntarily to our after-school programming, which demonstrates that impact that we're having. But we have interest and capacity to operate within other schools. If we look at the facts, 100,000, when you have, like, for example, we have 4 folks that are working in the Reach Partnership School, right? 100,000 does not cover that salary and the payments that we are giving to folks that are working within the location. So we have to supplement that amount to be able to pay for those services, and then also pay for the additional foods, trips, and things like that that we do for each of the participants. But once again, for those organizations like ours who aren't within the PQS system, especially because we've been also awaiting that PQS system and trying to see when we'll be able to actually become a board-approved organization. I mean, we've been operating since 2016 and operating within Baltimore City Schools since 2017. And so for us, we want to see how can we ensure that we're able to be in the schools that are calling on us to expand as we already have built out more capacity, number one. Number two is being able to have training for folks that are trying to fill out for these PQSs. And in the meantime, as we await the PQS being available for folks to apply, seeing how that cap can be lifted for folks.
That's fine. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. I'm going to ask that you submit your question to us in writing so that we can communicate back to you appropriately.
Okay. That works. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And I believe that is it for public comment. Okay, great. So as is our norm, we love to close out our safety and wholeness meetings with a quote. I will pass the mic and lean on my fellow Commissioner Rooks to leave us with good words before we adjourn tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Chair. I actually wrote this quote a few nights ago, so I hope everyone likes it. Believe in your dreams, for within you lies the power to shape the future. Every step you take today is a building block for tomorrow's achievements. Embrace challenges as opportunities to grow, and remember, the world is yours to change. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooks. And is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Esposito.
Esposito, is there a second?
Second, Rooks.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooks. All in favor, Commissioner Coy,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Rooks,
Yes.
Commissioner Slater-Harrington. Yes. And I am also in favor. Any opposed? And with that, the motion passes. Thank you, and let's eat.